You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the January 14th, 2025 meeting of the LaPorte County Drainage Board. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
And I've got 8:30, January 14th. We'll call the reorganizational meeting for the LaPorte County Drainage Board to order. Attorney Brad Adamski for the board calling the meeting to order at 8:30. So at this time with the reorganizational meeting, I would open for nominations for president of the board.
I nominate Jeff Mitzner.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in,
Make sure your mic's on.
just hit this button right there and that'll turn it on. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, I turn the meeting over to Jeff.
Okay, good morning. We also have to do positions for 4 county drainage board. What else we gotta have, John? 4 county drainage board,
3 county drainage board?
3 county drainage board.
I think that's it.
John, you gotta have your
I
microphone
think
on.
that's it.
Okay, so, and then we gotta have state contact, correct? With the,
I think so.
is that right, Brad?
You should, yes, and you should also have a vice chair elected.
Okay, so nomination for vice chair first.
Can I nominate someone who's not here?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to nominate Mark Scarborough.
Is there a second for Mark Scarborough?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we gotta do nominations, or are we just gonna appoint somebody for those? Because I've done them in the past.
You could do it by appointment.
Yeah.
Is anybody opposed that I take care of those, I suppose?
No.
No.
All 3 of them? Okay. I guess I'm gonna appoint myself to doing all 3 positions. Anything else? That's it, correct, Brad?
That's correct.
Okay, so we'll stand and have the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mark Scarborough.
Absent.
Chad Herches. Here. Connie Grammarosa.
Present.
Jeff Mitzner.
Here.
Pat Vance.
Here.
John Matwishin.
Here.
Can I have approval of last month's minutes?
Motion to approve?
Second? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Is Scipio Sunrise here yet? They were gonna be running a little late, so we'll probably bypass that one. Davy Arm of the Rodman Maintenance Project.
Recording in progress.
All right, this is a request we got from Audrey Hagenow, who lives to the north of this ditch area. It's a roughly 1,252 feet of the Davy Arm of the Rodman that she is requesting be cleaned. Here's a map that shows. I've taken some pictures out there. It hasn't been cleaned in a long time. Elmer Varro actually did the north part for us. Did a great job on that. Here's some pictures of that if you would like to see that. I would like a motion to put this out for bids for maintenance on this stretch of the Davy Arm.
I'll make a motion that we put the Davy Arm of the Rodman.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. So this pictures that you showed us here, these are already what's been dug?
Yes, that's to the north of the railroad. This will be south.
What was that second picture you had there by some trees or something on that one? I don't have that one.
That's on, yeah, that's on the south side. He'd actually extended it on the south side a little bit.
Ditch goes that way. They
Okay.
cleaned underneath the railroad track and the road there. They cleaned the culvert out.
Oh, okay. All right. So I guess I'll entertain that motion now then.
Make a motion that we send this out for bid.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Tree removal on the Bull Ditch.
I put this on the agenda because I just wanted to thank Connie and the highway department for taking care of the two trees that were out there. They did a good job and we appreciate that.
And really, the ones we should thank is the highway department. They really went out there and did a great job at removing the 2 trees.
And I really think that we need to keep a good,
I'm gonna try to get the beacon up for us.
okay, good relationship with our county highway, because that did save us a lot of money by them going out there and doing it, and maybe we can have them do a few other things for us too, so, appreciate that. McKellips Ditch Project rebids.
Okay, we have 4 bids.
Go ahead and open it.
Yeah.
I'm just having you open them, so don't take so long. I was gonna bring one of those, I forgot.
Pass it back to Jeff and. I'll do that one. Pass it back to him. Pass it back to him.
Okay, the McKellips Ditch Maintenance, the first bid is from Heritage Drone Service. All right, let's go away from this one first, because this one is just for the reseeding. So, start with M&K Excavating LLC. Grind, mow, brush, cut, pile, and tore down necessary trees, excavate to original bottom, grade spoils. That was $22,590. Beaver Excavating, $32,500. Carl Netzer, $23,900. So in that bid description, do we have reseeding on that? John?
Yes, we do.
So that should be all in their bids, the reseeding?
Should be.
Okay, so then I have a Heritage Drone Service reseeding, just for the reseeding. I'm assuming that's what that is, right? Just the reseeding, $22,500. So. What we got there? 22,590.
I don't know, but then I'll give it to you.
32,500.
All the other 3 bids, they have, you read the particulars of that first one, but they all do the same thing. They're grading the stuff and
Yeah, that's in the bid. That's in the bid, and the reseeding was in the bid too, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have 3 bids actually for digging the ditch, reseeding, leveling spoils. M&K 22,590, Netzer 23,900, and Beaver 32,500. Is there money there?
So that you can figure out whether you have the money or not.
No, we'd have to borrow from the fund to cover it. We'd have to borrow from the GDIF to cover.
How much money is in that fund?
The McKellips,
Yeah.
about 8,000.
Wow.
Who was it that requested this?
Kinretz.
So we'd have to borrow about $14,000 out of the general fund, correct? Wait, what's the tax years on that assessment? I'm not finding it here.
Like how much gets receipted in?
Yeah. Well, how long has it been?
Looks like 2015. 2015.
Do you know roughly how much we collect yearly for that?
Not right offhand. I'd have to look it up.
So I'd make a motion to table this until, unless there's a dire need, so that we can figure out the finances on it. That's my motion.
Do I have a second on Connie's motion?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Tobin Arm of the Rodman Ditch Project rebids.
3 bids for the Tobin.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh.
How much money is in that account?
100,000.
Okay, so we actually had 2 bids.
Oh.
2 bids on digging grade spoils out. First bid was from M&K Excavating, $15,500, and Beaver was $20,878, and Heritage Drone for just reseeding $7,200. So do I have a motion on this?
Motion, we accept the bid for 15,500 from M&K.
Okay, I have a motion to accept the M&K bid. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Kankakee River Tree Removal Project.
I know we've both spoken to Scott in regards to this. I actually talked to him last Thursday. And in case people were not sure what was going on with this, they rejected the bids that we sent to them for doing the work. I believe they were 98 and 99,000 for the 2 sections. But Scott said that they are actually cleaning those sections on a regular basis. In fact, he said a few weeks ago they were down there and they cleaned from 421 to the county line. They removed about 30 trees.
So I've talked to Scott on this too. He called and talked to me. So what I think we need to do, and I'd probably entertain a motion on this, is that we have some funds left over from FEMA for the Kankakee River project from when we had the flood, and we need to spend that money, and he suggested that we just take care of and pay, because they're doing it on a daily basis, that we take care of and pay for 1 or 2 days or whatever we can afford to pay for, so that they can keep going a little bit further and doesn't come out of their fund. So can I entertain a motion for that?
I'll make a motion that we do that after. Do we need an accounting of exactly what we're gonna pay them? You know, like if he does the investigation, the next meeting, we find out exactly what they.
Well, I think we know what that is.
It's about $7,900.
somewhere in that.
I'll make a motion that we do that. We move that money over to Kankakee to cover them for a couple of days, whatever we can.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, next up, White Ditch Maintenance Project. I want to talk about this a little bit before we open up the bids. I actually was up there yesterday and spent about 45 minutes up driving around looking at this project. This is going to be a major project. It's going through some houses. We have trees that people planted on our easement. We have buildings on our easement. We have a lot of issues going on up there that is going to be have to take in consideration. And we did talk about hauling the spoils out. We are not going to do that. If someone wants the spoils hauled off their property, they can pay for it. And it's not going to come out of our fund. If any bid was given and it included the spoils being removed, we're going to reject that bid. I think we tried to put it so that it was on a separate line anyway, correct, John, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so if anything says in a bid that it says with the spoils removed, we're gonna reject that bid ahead of time. Anybody got any questions on that? I think you wanted to come up and talk.
Yeah.
So go ahead and come to the podium, state your name and.
Alan Allsop with Allsop Excavating. I have a couple of pictures from the job.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
So basically I scouted it like I would do with any other job. We've worked here in this area previously. It's a very sensitive area they have walk paths, they have shrubs, it's really close to all the people there. And basically there's concerns on how to do the project. I stated in the bid, so after you open up the bids, basically we're fully capable of doing the project and we can take all the concerns you guys have, and also we have the equipment and means to be able to do that. We've done in the past, be able to work in the area with not only the drainage board, but in that community. So, stated in the bid, which you guys haven't opened yet, you guys will have, if you guys have any questions, when you guys open it, then I'll be more than happy to discuss anything with you guys.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we bid this in 3 sections, right? So, let me have that map back. So John, I just want to make sure this is the old map. So we bid at 1, 2.
No, blue is the first.
Blue's the first?
Yep, Oakdale to El Portal,
Okay,
and then El Portal to Pokagon,
okay.
Pokagon to the state line.
So according to our bids, this is 1,
Blue is the,
this is 2, and this is 3.
yep.
Okay, so if you guys want to see that, so it's numbered there now, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so, Alsop Construction. They have a price to do all 3 sections, not including haul away dirt. $50,000, correct? Am I reading that right? $50,000. You're $25,000 do each section, but if you get to do all 3, you're $50,000, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And then it has some stipulations back, but
Okay. Not responsible to replant trees, shrubs, remove fences, or replace stone. And you'll not be able to go get the project done till fall. Okay.
so the reason for,
Come up to the mic,
Come up to the
please.
mic.
sorry. So the reason to do fall is because it's a sensitive area, you know, it's a real tight-knit community. I presented the pictures of there's trees, shrubs, there's very tight easements. You know, right now it's at the end of the season, basically for the ditch cleaning season. And I know the community starts, you know, up in summer. You really need to do it in the fall or winter. Right now with this season already getting towards the end, people need to be notified, and that's on you guys to be able to, that they'll know, hey, we're going to be coming through here, so they're not like, holy crap, come back and see, ripping out their trees and shrubs or any of that kind of stuff. And like there's fences in the walk paths area, which is actually a ditch maintenance area, you know.
The walking path is on our easement.
Yes, it's actually a ditch easement first, walking path second.
Yes.
You know, so that's the reason why, to give the board and the community a little extra time to prepare for it.
So, question, and we still have one more bid to talk about too, and if you guys want to come up and talk, you can. But, so I was up there and looked at it. My idea of digging that ditch is where the walking path is put all the spoils on top of the walking path, roll it back over. There seems to be a little shelf right there. Roll it back over, and let's get it seated back down.
Yeah, I think there's adequate room to put on the side and not disturb the whole stoned area.
Okay. Well, it looked to me like there's a shelf there to, if the stuff was dry enough, you could put it up there and
Sure is.
put it right up on the bank.
Very sandy.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, so the other bid came from Beaver Excavating. So section 1, brushing, mulching, dredging, leveling spoil, replacing walkstone seating. Oh, sorry, brushing, mulching, dredging for section 1 is $37,050. Leveling spoil, replacing walkstone seating is $14,250 for a total price of $51,300 for section 1. Section 2, brushing, mulching, dredging, leveling spoils, $14,950. Seating, $4,025 for a total price of $18,975. Section 3, brushing, mulching, dredging, leveling spoils, $26,650. Seating, $8,200. Total price, $34,850. Now, I'm going to ask this. They have in their bid replacing the walkstone. We don't have to do that, do we? That's not our, I mean, they're on our easement. They put the stone there. We do not have to replace that, correct?
It's a little more sensitive than a traditional because this is where we relinquished control to them briefly, and part of that was, I believe, creation of that walkway. So it's not like a normal situation where somebody puts a shed on the easement and that's at their own risk. I would need to actually look at the agreement back when we ceded control of that section to the town.
May I address the board while you're having discussion?
Yes, sir.
Kenneth Purz. I'm a landowner in that area and am very familiar with the topic you're discussing. The walking path is a byproduct of what was created for drainage access. It is a drainage access road that the community uses for a walking trail. it was made wide enough for equipment to get in there to maintain the ditch and to mitigate flood hazard in an area that's residential, is part of the regulatory floodway, and is known to have flooding where the streets were flooded. So any restoration to the path is not how our drainage assessment funds should be used. I've been paying into that drainage assessment since it was created. I was behind getting that determined to be a regulated drain and creating the assessment. That walking path is a byproduct of a path for the drainage board's access. Any spoils, any trees still fit in the easement, not on the path, but alongside the path. And so I would suggest to this board that any consideration given to any maintenance on that path that isn't necessary for this board's access to maintain the ditch, don't spend my money there. Thank you.
So Ken, come back up here, please. So who paid for putting that stuff on the walking path? Who took care of that?
Well, when the walking path was created, it was created after we had a flood event in the community, and we needed to have access for ditch maintenance that had been neglected. It was a partnership between the drainage board, the town, and the solid waste district of LaPorte County. The solid waste district, after the drainage board did the project, the solid waste district funded recycled concrete to be put on a portion of the path where we would have access for equipment so that you guys could maintain the drain. But because of some additional funding from the coastal program, which is through the DNR, where we resloped the banks, the DNR wanted an agreement from the drainage board that they would surrender maintenance of that section, just that section in the center, or what you guys I think are calling section 1. It's the opposite of the state line, what you guys are calling section 1. So the town had an agreement to maintain that section because the town had a vested interest in creating a walking path as a result of the access that was created for drainage maintenance. Does that answer your question, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
Do we need, this isn't gonna be done immediately, do we need to like table this next month just so we can investigate the implications that?
We got a lot of things to investigate on this. Okay, so,
Motion to table.
yes, but I want to talk about it before we table it.
Okay.
John, I'd like you get to with Berrien County Surveyor. Our outlet that has to go through, it goes up to the Michigan state line, and then I'm gonna say, Ken, help me out, is it 3/4 of a mile to a mile to the lake where it dumps in? How
Yeah, White Ditch,
when it goes from the state line to
yeah, it's less than a mile from the state line where it leaves LaPorte County and goes into Lake Michigan, correct?
So I have pictures, and I will show them to the board, that I took last night that is our side compared to so this is the state line facing north, that's their side, that's what our side looks like. That's our side, no, that's their side, this is our side, and this is what it looks down the river or down the creek. That's at Chickagami and Creek Drive.
Yes.
That's what it looks like there. And I'd say that's probably less than a 1/4 mile from where we're at.
Yeah, I will add, and there's lots of files and records Mr. South will have in the office that Christine kept over decades. When we addressed Berrien County in the past, we didn't get a lot of cooperation. LaPorte County took the action to have the highway department install an overflow culvert pipe at the state line. And so I know that where the water would back up at the state line, that was handled with the overflow pipe. And that pipe, I believe, is okay. I didn't look at it recently, but it has been functioning properly. So you have the main culverts and an overflow culvert at the state line. Of course, we have no control over what Michigan does after the water leaves us. It's our job to move the water up to them.
So does anybody know how much fall there is between Lake Michigan and the state line and
That
where
would
we're
be
at?
your county surveyor, it's responsibility to know what that fall is. I don't, that's beyond my
We're gonna have to have
skill
the
set.
elevations. We're gonna have
And
to.
that throws up a whole nother can of worms.
I have a
Okay.
feeling that all that will be in the records because there, when this was made a regulated drain, a lot of that information was developed, and when all these prior projects were done for maintenance, etc., culvert pipes, that information or data was developed not only by the previous surveyor but the previous 2 or 3 surveyors.
Okay, so John, you need to get a hold of Berrien County in Michigan and see if we can work together with them on trying to get this project dug a little bit further to the north. I guess I'm gonna call it north. It kind of runs northeast, I think, but call it north so we can get something more dug past the state line to help out with this drainage, because it's just terrible when you get into Michigan. So,
I would be happy to.
okay. Anybody else got anything else on this? I think that one thing we need to do is to the homeowners on both sides of the ditch, we need to let them know in a letter that we're gonna be working on this project. And these letters need to be sent to them. I suppose those need to be sent via email with return receipt so we know they got them. Or not.
You normally send those letters out paper, right? So, I mean, this isn't a situation where it needs to be certified mailing. You're talking about a project in the fall, so I think really now you're just providing notice of the upcoming project. I mean, certified is obviously preferred. I don't know how many houses we're talking about cost-wise.
I mean, do we go out there and try to find out which side we're gonna throw the, because on this ditch, we're gonna be on one side of the ditch working, and then we gotta move to the other side of the ditch because of the way that it works. So the people that we're gonna, do we need to do the people that's on the side of the easement that we're gonna be working on? Do we need to send them certified so they know? Because I guarantee you that I know that there's trees planted there, there's stuff on our easement that's gonna have to be removed.
If I may address one more time, have Mr. South look into the records of the last time this was done. The town has not allowed any additional new construction. So I think in your records, you already have the path that you described and which sections on which side the contractor's going to work from. And you also have a record of anybody that was required to have a hold harmless agreement, because those were required in the past. And you'll have all of this information that's new to you, and this board is already in the file, and I think that they'll make John's work a lot easier in terms of who do we notify, even the content of the letters. Most of that hasn't changed. Of course, I'm sure you'd want your attorney to review anything, but that hasn't changed. And the areas that are accessible for the equipment to do the job, that hasn't changed.
Okay.
In
All
other
right.
words, no sense in reinventing the wheel.
No one says in reinventing the wheel. Just look closely at those historic records and files. That's your path.
And I think with a fall project, you've got time to even revisit this at February if John can get into the records. I'm sure Christine kept great records.
And to the point that Mr. Alsop raised about giving everybody ample time, you know, you have another advantage. I believe Mr. Damsky is also the attorney for the town of Michiana Shores. Hopefully he retains that position. I think they have their meeting tonight. Communication with the affected landowners is critical, and no, it's not going to be an easy project, and yes, there's going to be a little bit of pushback, but I think with a high level of communication, you'll get cooperation, because like the town has to remove the, you know, wooden fencing to get to the access. Private property owners have to relocate some of their shrubbery, or accept the fact that they're going to lose it. I mean, this will take time, but again, communication is the key. You have a common element with legal counsel. I think that'll mitigate collateral damage. All right?
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Can I just say something really quick? If anyone out is here in the audience and they're here for the open bids or to bid on the EMS building, that meeting is right next door. Because I see people coming in and out. Okay? It's just go out this door and then go right into the next door.
Is that going on right now?
Yes. Oh, well, they're supposed to start at 9:30. I'm just gonna step away a second, make sure you guys
Okay.
continue the meeting.
Can I just ask one question? The guy from Alsip, if you could come to the mic, I just had a question for you.
Yes, sir.
You're familiar with this area and you're comfortable with doing this. I mean, obviously there's gonna be some challenges, what we've seen here, but you guys, have you done this before, or?
Yes, about 10 years ago.
Okay. I just want to make sure. That was my impression, that you knew this area, you know, there's gonna be challenges, but you guys are fine with it.
Oh, yes, we're capable of doing that in these sensitive areas. In different counties, we go through a lot of obstacles.
Yeah, well, residential is always harder than out in the farmland.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that.
Problem.
Anybody else got any questions or comments on this? So we have 2 bids on it. If I'm looking at this right, Beaver, your total bid was $64,125. Is that?
On that. Yeah, plus 18.
Hold on, the 51,386. Wow, I need a calculator now.
Also up at 50.
So your total is 105,125, correct?
I'm like, yeah.
Okay. And then Allsup has a bid of 50,000 if we do all 3 sections. And they're suggesting we do it next fall. I'm suggesting we do it when the ground is froze. I think you can do a better job and not do minimal damage or less damage. So what's the board's decision on what we want to do with this? We're going to table it till next month until we can get some more stuff figured out, but the lowest bid is from Allsop.
Question for you again. Are you good with doing it on the frozen ground? Like if we say to do it earlier, or are you just, you have to do it in the fall?
51,3, 34,
Yeah, we.
and 18.
Right.
You gotta say it on the record.
51 and 18, that's 69.
So basically,
Okay.
I think with the time constraints of being able to try to do it now when majority of those people aren't even there living, I don't know if they'll have enough time for notice to be able to do it within this season before April or whenever when people come in. So like the fall or winter, I'm saying like this still within 2025 ish, you know, from when the crops come off to whenever, since this doesn't have to worry about crops, I'm saying like this next fall when it's cold.
Do you agree with me that it'd be better to do it when it's froze?
Yes, especially with like the stone area and stuff, so you're not tearing up
Okay.
thorough. So yes, in the fall, winter area of this next winter, not this current winter.
Well, that'll give us time to get the letters out and do a little bit of checking with Michigan.
Boy, that would be a huge, if they could get some of that done before we did it, that would really help with.
Oh yeah, it would help out a bunch. You get the flow then.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. President, I would move that we accept that bid from Allsup then, but obviously we're gonna have to proceed with some more things, notifications and some other investigations.
Okay, so there's only $37,000 in that account, so we're gonna have to borrow some money to do that. So can we accept this bid and then do some more investigation to make sure that we want to get this job done, or how can we do that, Brad?
You could accept the bid contingent on communication with the town as far as scheduling and doing it with a minimal amount of disruption, so that you can do that investigation part of it. And obviously then that would factor in the finances of it as well.
Matt, you want to change your motion to that?
I'm gonna make a motion that we accept this bid, but conditionally, because we have further investigation to do as far as notification of the people, and also, what was the other thing? For, financing. Yeah, to make sure that we have enough money in that fund and the general fund to cover it.
What you do.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Ken, do you still need talking the White Ditch?
Oh, yeah.
Oh boy, here we go.
No. This is easy because your last topic and your concern is exactly what I wanted to talk about. I know some of you know me well, and know that I served in your position for at least 15 years. And by the way, I know how you felt at the beginning of the meeting when you had to take all the joint boards too, because I did that. But what I want to give you, and Counselor, you would want to write this down. I'm going to refer to drainage code, and the code that I'm going to refer to is IC 36-9-27-42. Increases and decreases to assessments for periodic maintenance to drains procedure, section 42. The board may, at any time, increase or decrease the amount annually assessed for periodic maintenance of a regulated drain if the board finds that the county surveyor's estimate of the cost of maintaining the drain was insufficient or excessive. The board may decrease the amount annually assessed without notice to the affected owners if the percentage of benefit assigned to all tracts and land affected is not changed from that originally determined by the board. And this is where we get into the important part. The board may increase the amount annually assessed once without notice to the affected owners if 1. The percentage of benefit assigned to all tracts of land affected is not changed from that originally determined by the board, and 2. The increase does not exceed 25% of the amount initially established. I bring this to your attention for legal review and consideration because what you were faced with is you don't have enough money in the fund to fund the costs of the current maintenance. If we don't have enough money in the fund, you have to borrow from the general drain fund and then pay the general drain fund back with whatever's in that ditch's assessment. This board has the tools available with whatever legal parameters exist, whether it's in the case of White Ditch or any other ditch, to increase that assessment based on current costs. I don't know that can be done in this case. I ask that your attorney advise you accordingly. Keep that in mind for all the struggles that you have with all the regulated drains that you have, because most of those assessments were determined with old data. And I don't have to tell you, these guys that are here representing the excavators, cost today and cost when those assessments were determined is a lot different. And I think that Commissioner Grammarosa is very good at making sure the board questions, do we have the money before we authorize a payment? The payment mechanism does exist within this board to not having to borrow from the general drain fund. Please look into it for White Ditch, and please keep it in mind for your other drain funds. That was what I wanted to bring.
Okay, thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
So on that, I'm looking here when we did this last time. Total cost last time was tree removal in sections 1, 3, and 4. Silt removal in sections 1, 3, and 4. Total cost was $37,000. 1, 3, and 4. So this time we're doing 4, 3, and 2 for $50,000, according to this map. And that's not even including section 1 to where it starts at. So, just keep that in mind. So Brad, do you know anything about this?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that section of the code that Ken addressed. I said I'm familiar with the section of code that Ken addressed, so yeah.
Okay, so do we want to look into that?
Yep.
All right, so you're going to look into that for us? Okay, any other questions on that? Number 8, Travis Arm of the Rodman Ditch Drain Tile Repair Project.
We have 2 bids.
M&K Excavating. Total bid $3,352. Vero Services LLC. $11,325.60. Is there somebody from M&K here?
I think they may have gone next door. The
EMS.
EMS. Do you want me to run over there and see if I can find them?
Yes.
Somebody from next door.
See if somebody's from M&K Excavating over there.
Thank you, Ken.
This is the tile that needs to be fixed at Tucholsky's, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this one here says, if a trench box, this is from M&K, if a trench box is required to minimize the excavated hole size, then the cost will be added to the rental of the trench box with no upcharge.
And how much is that one?
$3,000. Okay.
But they didn't mention the price of the rental of the trench box would be in there.
No. So they got, how many feet of tiles do you have on there that he's got?
Per square foot, 18 single wall tile. comes in 20 lanes.
But it doesn't say how much he's gonna do. This one here, okay, so Vero says that he's gonna replace 60 foot of tile and replace with pipe and adapters.
Not quite sure, you're comparing apples.
Yeah, we're not comparing it. Okay, so I'm gonna read Vero's. Transport all equipment and mats to job site and clear 50 foot of trees going both sides of the drain pipe and pile brush. Then plug off water pipe using special bladder plug. Dig up apex, 60 foot of tile and replace with pipe and adapters. Backfill and compact and level off. For a total price of $11,325. M&K.
So this one said 50 feet and that one says 100 feet. To clear 50 feet of trees. That one's clearing
100 feet.
So,
But we're really not worried about the trees, we're worried about fixing the tile. And that's what I'm questioning here. Hourly for digging the tile repair includes laborers.
doesn't tell you how many
It's got,
feet of tile.
well, it tells me hourly rate of $250. There's no way that this can be right because he's got $250 for the rate, the amount $250, a total $250. Well, I guarantee he's gonna have more than $250 in digging. So
we're gonna have to get clarification on the bids.
yes, we need to get clarification on this, John, what we have going on.
Okay.
So we're gonna
A
need
motion to table.
second.
Table this.
What? Yes. Come on up, Elmer. All right, how are you?
Good. I'm Elmer Vero with Vero Services. We've done the last 4 of these drain tile blowouts. And if these guys have no clue how to plug off an 18-inch tile that's traveling approximately 3/4 of a mile, they're going to have a real mess. And you've got to be able to plug it off upstream. And, you know, there's no way you can move equipment in and dig up. And where we're looking at is approximately 10 to 12 feet deep by where we repaired last time. It was 20 feet deep further up. You know where that was. So, you know, I don't know what they're bidding. They didn't even put the trees on there. The trees are cheap, you know, to clear 100 feet of trees. The main thing is to do the blowout properly, safely, and, you know, so that nobody gets hurt, and so that the farmer can actually farm it when you're done. So that's, you know, I'm going kind of by where me and Christy worked with it in the past. We've taken out manholes because they collapsed and replaced 80 feet of pipe in the past. We've had other collapses further up on Minnick property. So, yeah, that's, you know, so I'm kind of going by my past experience and knowing the project. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there money in the account?
Yes.
We're on the ditch. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll back my motion.
Yeah, I'm gonna suggest that we go with Vero Services LLC, just because they've done the project before. He knows where we're at. He knows what we're doing. So can I pertain a motion to that?
Doesn't tell you, just
Yeah, I'll make a motion for that.
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Bridge replacement on 94, crossing application.
Yeah, actually, this is one that Tony and I looked at before he left. We had no issues with it because it's just a deck replacement. Shouldn't affect the ditch at all. The only thing I'd recommend is a hold harmless, which they didn't submit.
Can I have a motion to accept this with a hold harmless?
I'll make a
to
motion.
accept- Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'll make a motion we accept with hold
Second.
harmless.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Bridge project drain crossing application.
Yeah, this one is about the same situation. It's a deck replacement. Tony also reviewed this before he left and he was okay with it. So I'd say the only thing with this would be the hold harmless.
Can I have a motion to accept with the hold harmless?
Motion to accept?
Second?
Aye.
You second?
Yeah.
Chad seconds. All in favor? I say aye. Motion passed. Okay, let's go back up to, is Scipio Sunrise here?
Yes.
All right, so come on up, please.
Hi there.
Hi.
First of all, I'd like to apologize for our tardiness. I will give a compliment to the LaPorte County Highway Department. You have the cleanest roast here. Besides Lake County and Porter County, forget it. You guys are great. I'm Nancy Frigo-Svetnoff, and I'm here on behalf of the, the Scipio Sunrise Homeowner Association, actually number 2. Lou DeYoung was our developer, and he has recently passed away. And we are trying to actually close out and turn everything over to the homeowners. As far as the association goes, I do have, actually Robin Verda, she's in charge of it too. So, but we're putting this together, and we're here today formally to request. We had learned, and thank you very much for helping us find out the details. That we're putting in a request from the Drainage Board to maintain the drains that they have there. There's 2 drains actually, and I have the legal descriptions for you. But I understand that there's a fund that you guys have already allocated for maintaining that drainage, the drainage basins there.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
It's one of our urban drains.
Get everything organized to turn it over to the homeowners. So if anybody, just let us know what we need to do. Okay. So we're good?
So do you have pictures or something, or
Yes.
what?
This is what the basins look like out there. Here's the.
And what ditch where does it go to?
It's contained within the subdivision.
Just retention.
I have the beacon maps if you want to see it. It's up to you guys. I brought both of them. There's 2 lots actually.
So it's a retention pond is what it is?
Detention.
Detention?
Yeah.
So there is no outlet? Where's the outlet go?
It's they're not meant to hold water, so it goes into the ground.
One just drains into the other.
Yeah.
So it bounces from one to the
They're not
next.
intended.
So we're in charge of maintaining those?
It's one of our urban drains. We collect assessments.
Okay.
You can see from the pictures they haven't been cleaned in a long time.
No, actually, the developer was always out there cutting the grass and everything up until this past summer.
So what is our maintenance going to pertain to this?
Remove the silt from the basins to get them back to their natural level where they're supposed to be.
There was a no campground ordinance where they were.
We can't hear you.
You're going to have to come to the mic.
That's correct.
They also had a no cattail ordinance where they weren't able to cut the cattails down. So I'm sure that needs to be done too.
Who had a no cattail cutting ordinance?
It's town of LaPorte.
It's phase 1. She said they were phase 2, but Scipio Sunrise in general was 26,000.
So what is it you would like us to do?
Clean it up. And the homeowners, actually, we're in the process of, the developer has passed away and has, allocated to turn it over to them. And so that's, everybody was asking what's going on with the ponds, because he was sick. And he didn't get to clean it up this fall and summer, so that it needs to be cleaned up.
So this sediment's going to have to be hauled away? Or can we put it on the banks?
We're not in charge of that. I mean, you guys are the experts in that field. Maybe you can talk with us about it. Or
Well, if we did it on the banks, we'd have to reseed it too.
Well, that's cheaper than hauling it away.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess can I entertain a motion that we investigate this and
Table it?
let's table it. Let's have John go out and both Johns go out and investigate it and see what it is and come back to us next meeting.
all right, and then maybe you can verify the fund, how much is in that account for us too, so we can let them know that there's money allocated there too.
It's over 27,000.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So I'll make a motion to table this and have the surveyor and John Smith go out and investigate the area and try to come up with a solution. South, sorry.
It's all right.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
You guys might want to come back next meeting so that we can see so you know what is going on with that. So the next meeting will be February 11th at 8:30 in this room.
That way you'll just be asking to put it out for bids.
Thank you. Bank spraying 2025.
Okay, I've identified four ditches that need the bank spraying for this year. The Rodman, which would be 42,000 feet. The Bull Ditch, 30,350 feet. Little Kankakee River, 23,000 feet. And the O'Hara Rice Ditch, 40,663. If you'd like to see the maps of the areas identified. I would like a motion to put this out for bids.
This O'Hara and that's a lot of feet. Do we need to break these down a little bit? Or is that how much we've always done before?
It's pretty close to what we did before.
Okay. Okay. Have we worked on that situation that we talked about for spraying? If somebody doesn't want it sprayed, Brad, have you done anything on that? Or didn't we talk about something like that?
Yeah, basically we were gonna put them on notice, and if somebody wanted to say don't spray, then they had to enter into an agreement with the county. Bless you.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, we could factor that into, I mean, obviously get the quotes.
Well, we can take bids first, but then we need to make sure we get that taken care of. Okay. So I have a motion to get some bids on the bank spraying.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Monthly reports.
Georgette was not able to make it today, so she asked me to read her spiel on the lake. The lake is still low. We are working on issues with the Toll Hawk battery. The lake is currently measuring between 3 and 4 inches above the weir. There are no incidents that we are aware of. The LARE Lake Grant. We submitted our annual LARE grant application to assess and treat invasive species last week. We also submitted a grant to do another sediment removal plan study to complement the one done in 2021. The dredging efforts are now deferred to July 2025. Late harvest weather and equipment repairs inhibited sufficient progress to complete either site of the public ramp and the southern channel. The DNR HLCA drain agreement. The draft of the drain agreement continues to move through the approval process. With the change of administration, current officials need to re-sign the document. The goal is to have a signed document within the next month or so. That's it.
Any questions on that report? Brad, you got anything?
Nothing.
Okay, so the next one I'm gonna bring up is John, surveyor's report, but I just want everybody to know here, John is not a licensed surveyor. So that means we have, anytime we have to get a surveying done, we have to pay for it out of our fund. And so I have a quote here from Tony for doing our hourly rates of what it will be if we have to get anything done. I just know that this is going to cost us a lot of money for the county. So we got to be real careful about what we're doing as far as what we need to get surveyed, and yeah, I guess it's just it's a bad situation. So I just want everybody to be aware of that, of what's happening with that situation. So do you have anything to report?
Not at this time, since this is my first meeting. I don't want to get involved deeply in projects that are underway. I didn't get a packet for this meeting, so this is my first exposure to very to many of the things that you're discussing. My background is not surveying, it's general engineering. So I'm familiar with doing surveying work. I just am not registered to do the work. 70% of the counties in Indiana do not have a registered surveyor. So the county surveyor is not a registered surveyor in 70% of the counties. So it's not unique, it's not novel. It's something that they work their way through. And I hope that we can also negotiate our way through whatever is going to come up. I hope to get together with the board members in the future so we can hash this out because it's going to get complicated. That's pretty much what I have to say for the first meeting. Thank you.
And if I can add, I mean, typically, he's right, there are a lot of counties, but those counties are prepared for that. We were not prepared for that. And so unfortunately, we don't have a large amount of money for surveying in our budget. So we are gonna find ourselves going back to the council, and if we can quickly exceed the amount that we have set aside for surveying. So this board is gonna have to decide at some point when we quickly go through that money, we're gonna have to go before the council and request more money. So that's all I wanted to say. It might be something that we have to, because we're gonna go into 4 years of this, so we're gonna have to prepare for the next 4 years. Thank
Okay.
you.
Anybody got any questions on that? Joint boards, meeting got changed till next month for the 4-county drainage board. And I'm not sure when the other 3-county one is, because Tony was on that, correct? I was not on that. I wasn't on that before, was I? I don't
It
even.
will be now.
Oh, I know, but I never went to a meeting, so I'm just telling you, I don't even know when that meeting is. So, we got any claims?
Nope.
No claims. With that, we'll adjourn the public meeting. Next meeting will be in this room
Motion to adjourn?
on,
Public comment.
oh, public comment. Sorry, is there any public comment? It was on my next page. Sorry about that. Sorry, I didn't mean to leave you out.
No problem. Okay, Dinah Dumbris, Town of Michiana Shores, 3851 Hiawatha Drive. And just FYI, I've been on the town council for the last 5 years, president of the council. We'll see what happens tonight at the meeting, and you know, if any of that part changes, I'll still be on the council. Anyway, I just wanted to address some of the things about White Ditch. Most of the homes in Michiana Shores, you know, especially those that are on White Ditch, were constructed somewhere starting in the 30s up to maybe the 70s. Our home that we built a new home on a lot where there was an old cottage, but because we could not add to it since it was in the drainage board's easement where the original cottage was, and in the floodway we had to move the house farther up. So our house is farther up and it is off. So that's one of the newer homes. So just to address some of the comments, you know, that were made with regards to what's going on at White Ditch. Most of the property that is along White Ditch is not developed property. So any kind of trees, shrubs, and bushes and whatever have been there, either, you know, have grown naturally because, seeds fell, acorns fell, and so forth. So a lot of that is like that. Yes, homeowners have added improvements and have, planted trees and whatever it is. The last time around when the ditch had to be cleaned, we actually even lifted up. We removed the trees that we had. We have a pine and we have a couple of birches that are close to the ditch. So we had even removed those. I don't know what other, people did, but we did that on our particular property. We moved a fence that we have so that anything can get through, okay, as well, because we put, it was just like a, what is it, between, it's not even really a fence, it was sort of like, there's a railing that goes up here and then, everything can go underneath with, so it's not a super real fence. But anyway, so, and then as well, I wanted to say that there are some properties that have there's a great big barn looking like thing, in somebody's property. Somebody's got a gazebo, somebody has a shed. We have a shed in ours, but there's more. There are people who have other playground equipment and all kinds of other things that are, in all their yards. So now, so I wanted to talk about this, the vegetation, the homes and stuff like this. The current new plantings are all being taken care of by their homeowners, and we have some who have actually planted trees where older trees have fallen out. So we were able to get some donations. We bought some more as a town. The homeowner has done some stuff, and they are probably in the easement area, but on the other hand, the vegetation that's there and it's being taken care of, because it's brand new stuff, that hopefully it'll keep some of the silt and all other things from falling into the ditch. Now the nature path was developed in order, Mr. Perez gave us the history, and it is an access road for the drainage board. Those fences are easy to remove, and we do remove them so that we can get in and out and do some work that's over there. But this drainage, this particular nature path, is for the benefit of the town and anybody who comes to visit us as well. People love walking on this. It's very nice. So that I hope that working forward, when we have, the Allsup company working with us, that we'll be able to do something so that the entire path section in that area does not get decimated. This is something that a lot of attention has been paid to. The town and the park board work on this to make sure that it's nice, to remove debris and all these things. So it would be nice that it would not be completely decimated. And, we had made agreements with, DNR and FEMA and stuff to maintain it the right way. And if we're talking about DNR and FEMA, the town has to be very careful because we signed an ordinance provided to us through the DNR, which comes from FEMA, and we have to sign this every time they come up with it, that we are going to make sure that whatever we do within that floodway is done according to the, to the rules. One of the things that I did find out, because I was doing research as well, because I'm concerned about, any silt, any fill, anything that's going to be taken out of the drain. And it says it should not be placed into the floodway without FEMA's actual agreements that you're putting it in the floodway, which is in that drain easement of the drainage board, because our floodway is actually extending a lot, not just the floodplain, but the floodway in some areas is rather large. So that's a concern for me. Now it does say if it is stabilized the right way and packed down and then new vegetation is added and whatever to keep it in place, that would probably be a safe idea. But that is something that's important. I did not bring the numbers because I was reading this, so I don't have all of those, but I'd be very happy to provide all the sections that I found this in. So and then because we are so concerned about making sure all of that, I hope that the town can work together with the drainage board when these things go forward and when the project is being worked on, so that doesn't become just, like, okay, you're going to send the letters out to the residents and all, but there's a lot of properties that are actually now town owned along the ditch, so that it would be nice if all of us can work together so that we could do the best job possible with the cleaning, with maintaining, and so forth. Okay, thank you very much. That's it.
Okay, thank you. But before you start, I got a question. Since I was out there and looked at that, and we're talking about flooding here, where your house is at LaPorte, that's where I was at. That ditch is pretty deep there. You're telling me that ditch filled up, and so I'm just trying to lay the land here from what I saw. So was your house flooded?
The back of my garage. It was all the way up to the back of my garage.
Okay.
Okay, but I can tell you that when we had the woman who was an amputee that the fire department had to rescue in a canoe on her street, that was on Pontiac and Hiawatha. So that was not a block away. And if you look at the topography map, you'll see that's the lowest point in the town. That's why we're concerned about flooding, and I wanted to make 2 points. Number one, Mrs. Dumbriez is correct about the floodway and the deposits in floodways, but your attorney can verify drainage code in the state of Indiana trumps that regulatory DNR stipulation. Drainage code, Farm Bureau is the strongest lobby at the State House, and I can assure you the drainage code addresses ditch maintenance and depositing silt in the floodway. Last issue on White Ditch, and I'm doing this one from memory. The County Highway Department maintains a small structure inventory, and they, I believe, small structure number 1170 is the bridge at Pokagon. Those culvert pipes were replaced. When they were replaced, the highway engineer at the time ran into a problem with utilities, water line, and maybe a gas line that crossed the ditch. That pipe was not located at the proper depth. So between Pokagon and LaPorte, you have the equivalent of a giant sediment trap. It's one of the reasons why you're now having to pull sediment out of that section, because when the small structure was replaced by county highway, that wasn't placed at the right level. Prior to this meeting, I had a discussion with Randy Novak on the council, and Randy used to live on Pokagon. Randy supports any efforts that would be put into looking into that issue in terms of funding from the council, because that would be from the highway department. And as John does his research and your new surveyor does his research, you should look closely at the small structure at Pokagon, because if that structure is actually located incorrectly and that acts like a big sediment trap, you could avoid a lot of ongoing maintenance by getting that structure at the right level. So as we are looking at this for a fall project, I would ask that the board take some action to have the highway department look at that level of that small structure and get those elevations from the highway department. That would not come out of your budget. Okay? Thank you.
I'll take on that project.
Okay, county's gonna take care of that. I just wanna comment on this white ditch. We're gonna do our best not to tear everything up. Sure that Al and Alan's gonna do their best not to do this. But everyone on that ditch where the easement is at need to understand what that easement's for. That easement is for the ditch. And technically we can go in there and do whatever we want, tear the trees out and do whatever we want. So I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that we will do our best not to tear things up, but there will be stuff that's going to get tore up. And I know that there's trees that's planted on there that looks like they were planted like 3 years ago that's going to have to go. You know, and there's nothing we can do about that because they are planted on our easement. So,
I think, and one of the things that someone had suggested was that we go back and we look at the records that we've had. So once we compare the records that we have from years past, and we compare them and we go out there, we'll take, photos from now, we'll be able to see what was installed from back then till now. And that, I think that will give us a good idea of what's gonna need to be moved and
yes,
and removed.
And if we can get Michigan on board with this, Berrien County, I'm telling you that if we could get them to dig first, that sand is probably gonna go fast enough that we don't even have to dig. But that's part of the problem.
Say that out loud.
Oh, I shouldn't have said that out loud. But
yeah, come on up. Come on up.
Okay, again, Dinah Dumbers. But it wasn't the county that actually contacted us, but I've had contact with some people who live over on that ditch, on the ditch in the Michigan side, who are also trying to clean it up and try to do what we have as our nature path. So just as an FYI, there are people there who are interested in cleaning up their whole area.
Maybe you might want to contact them so that they help push this situation.
I will. I'll contact the two gentlemen that contacted me. No problem at all. I'll share the email. I'll share it with John so that he would have that information. This John, only because I've got his email. I don't have yours. Okay. So anyway, and then he can share it with you. So that anyway, but there are people who are interested on that side in cleaning it up because it is horrid down there, and I know that in the past, I guess either the community itself didn't think there was any big problem, and they just left it all natural. Just FYI. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Any other comment? Come on up.
Hi, I'm Deb Vance. I'm from 318 Gardner Street in Michigan City. I just had
kind of a question, concern when we're talking about now having to pay survey costs. And I know going to the county asking, I mean, that's what we do, but is there provision provided within that county budget? Or is that something now we're gonna have to worry about where we're gonna come up with that money? And will it cause delays with things you guys got going on? Because this stuff is real important, so just, wondering how that'll work.
It's gonna have to come out of general fund, right?
Right, so yes, we typically, well, first of all, I just want to say, this is not a Q&A, but we have been doing it, but typically what happens is we are budgeted in July and every department is given a budget. We're in a unique situation where for the last 8 years, we've had an actual surveyor. It cuts the cost down tremendously. When we were doing the budget hearings, when the council was, and I say we a lot because I always think of us as one big body, but when the council was working on the budgets, from year to year or from election to election, they really never planned for not having a surveyor. So we put the minimal amount of money in there for the surveying because we had a surveyor who would go out and do the elevations, do the surveying for us. I mean, it wasn't just the actual surveys, it's actually going out there and figuring out what our elevations are. And we did use them. I think this board, some of the older board members on here will say we did use him a lot last year for that. So it does, right now we do have, we're kind of short on the budget and we're trying to figure out where we're getting monies from. So it does cause a problem for us. You're going to see a lot of changes in the county as far as commission and council, the way we're handling things, because we will have to try to figure out where to get the money from.
Right. And that's why I asked, just because average Joes like us don't really know all of that.
Right.
And we know that there's certain things that you put in place, and knowing that we hadn't prepared for that, because we did have a surveyor who was able to do that. And I just wondered how, if there's a concern that it might affect what you guys have going on.
So the delays, I think that we're going to be smart enough where we know when we start getting towards the end, we're not going to wait till we use up every single penny and then we're going to go, which would delay our projects. I believe that we're going to plan for it and we're going to know what's coming. You can't go before a board, ask for money while you still have money in your budget.
Exactly. Yeah.
But once we kind of get close to that point, we will reconvene and we will figure out when it's the right time to go there and ask for more money.
Because if you being the board that you are unique, you can't go in there with saying, okay, we're going to need this much, because so many different things come up. It's
correct.
You just can't plan for that. But I just wondered how that was going to affect the board. So I appreciate it.
Just so you know, we got about, from the quotes I've got so far for people doing surveying for us, we got about 12 hours of work that we can get. That's it.
Ooh. Oh boy.
For the money that we have at this time.
Good luck. But thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Next meeting will be February 11th at 8:30 in this room. Thank you.
Thank you.